Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, Pastor.
I questioned this for a long time, but the deeper I get into it, there's just a couple of points he's making here. But they're points that we generally skip over in our own lives for some reason. And that's why he made a juxtaposition that he doesn't make often, but the world, as always, got it wrong. And one thing that I've learned to do here, to not get it wrong. And it's the only time he's ever done it this way. But most people thought he got it wrong. But they were the ones that got it wrong. And I'll make that point at some point here. And I will raise my hand when I make it. But if you wait for it, you'll skip over some stuff. This way is better for you all. And today we continue in the story of the prophet Ezekiel with part 7. This is the parable of the boiling cauldron. Starting with Ezekiel, 24th chapter, the first verse. Again, in the 9th year, in the 10th month, in the 10th of the month, the word of Yahweh Elohim came to me, saying, Son of man, write for yourself the name of the day, even of this day. The king of Babylon has leaned toward Jerusalem this same day. And speak a parable to the rebellious house, and say to them, So says the sovereign Yahweh, set on a pot, set it on, and also pour water into it. Gather its pieces into it, even every good piece, the thigh and the shoulder. Fill it with the choice bones. Take the choice of the flock, and also burn the bones under it. Make it boil high, and let them boil its bones in it. So the sovereign Yahweh says this, Woe to the bloody city, to the pot whose scum is in it, and whose scum has not gone out of it. That's the key point. Bring it out piece by piece. Let no lot fall upon it, for her blood is in her midst. She set it on top of a rock. She did not pour it on the ground to cover it with dust, that it might cause fury to come up to take vengeance. I have set her blood on a shining rock, that it should not be covered. So the sovereign Yahweh says, Woe to the bloody city! I will even heap on the pile, and heap on the wood, kindle the fire, consume the flesh, and mix in the spice, and let the bones be burned, and set it empty on its coals, so that its bronze may be hot, and may glow, and that its uncleanness may be melted in it, that the scum of it may be burned away. She has wearied herself with lies, and her great scum did not go out from her. Her scum shall be in the fire. In other words, it'll finally go out from her. In her defilement is wickedness, because I have purged you, and you were purged. You shall not be purged from your defilement anymore, until I have caused my fury to cease on you. This exact date is also recorded in 2 Kings, the 25th chapter, the first verse. You can read that whole chapter by yourselves. Kings, the 2 Kings, the 25th verse, the whole chapter, 1 through 32. You can read that whole chapter by yourselves. I just wanted to know that this event is in the Bible and is here for a reason. And that reason was not a replacement of the Judeans in Yahweh's plan of salvation, as many have said for so many years. The church replaced the Jews. You've heard it so often. It's not true. No one has been replaced, and that will become clear somewhere around the 35th or 36th verse of Isaiah, and repeated, thankfully, in Ezekiel, the 35th and 6th or 36th verses. Is this many of these errors in Christianity are caused by these verses and understanding them not. I will read a little bit of Kings 25, starting at the first chapter. First verse, rather. And it happened in the 9th year of his reign, in the 10th month, and the 10th day of the month, Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came. He and all his army came against Jerusalem and pitched against it and built a siege mound all around it. And the city was besieged until the 11th year of King Zedekiah. On the 9th of the 4th month, when famine was severe in the city, and there was no bread for the people of the land. And continue on your own. For now, though, return to Ezekiel, the 24th chapter, the 14th verse. I, Yahweh, have spoken. It shall come, and I will do it. I will not let go, nor will I spare, nor will I repent. According to your ways and according to your doings, they shall judge you, says the sovereign Yahweh. And the word of Yahweh came to me, saying, Son of man, behold, I take away from you the desire of your eyes with a stroke. But neither shall you mourn, nor weep, nor shall your tears run down. Groan, but be silent. Make no mourning for the dead. Tie your turban up on you and put your sandals on your feet. And do not cover your lips, and do not eat the bread of men. So I spoke to you that morning, the people in the morning, and in the evening my wife died. And I did in the morning as I was commanded. This is Ezekiel speaking here. Verse 19. And the people said to me, will you not tell us what these things mean to us, that you do so? And I answered them, the word of Yahweh came to me saying, speak to the house of Israel. So says the sovereign Yahweh, behold, I will defile my sanctuary, the glory of your strength, the desire of your eyes, and that which your soul pities, and your sons and your daughters whom you have left shall fall by the sword. And you shall do as I have done. You shall not cover your lips, nor eat the bread of men, and your turbans shall be on your heads, and your sandals on your feet. You shall not mourn nor weep, but you shall pine away for your iniquities, and mourn to one another. So Ezekiel is a sign to you. Ezekiel is a sign to you, according to all that he has done, and you shall do. And when this comes, you shall know that I am the sovereign Yahweh. And also, Son of Man, will it not be in that day when I take from them their strength, the joy of their glory, the desire of their eyes, and that on which they set their mind, their sons and daughters, that he who escapes in that day, catch that. He's not talking about now. In that day shall come to you to cause you to hear it with your ears. And in that day your mouth shall be open to him who has escaped. And you shall speak and be no more dumb. And you shall be a sign to them, and they shall know that I am Yahweh. This prophecy is against Ammon. Ezekiel, the 25th chapter, the first verse. Ezekiel, the 25th chapter, the first verse. The word of Yahweh came again to me, saying, Son of man, set your face against the Ammonites, and prophesy against them. And say to the Ammonites, hear the word of the sovereign Yahweh. So says the sovereign Yahweh. Because you said, aha, against my sanctuary when it was defiled, and against the land of Israel when it was ruined, and against the house of Judah when they went into captivity. Therefore, behold, I will give you to the sons of the east for a possession. And they shall set their campsites among you, and put among you their dwellings. They shall eat your fruit, and they shall drink your milk. And I will make Rabbah a pasture for camels, and the Ammonites a crouching place for flocks. And you shall know that I am Yahweh. For so says the sovereign Yahweh, because you have clapped your hands and stamped the foot and rejoiced in heart with all your despite against the land of Israel. Behold, therefore I will stretch out my hand on you, and will give you as a prize to the nations. And I will cut you off from the peoples, and I will cause you to perish out of the lands. I will destroy you, and you shall know that I am Yahweh. So says the sovereign Yahweh, because Moab and Seir say, behold, the house of Judah is like all the nations. Therefore, behold, I will open the side of Moab from the cities, from his borders, the glory of the land, even Beth Jeshimoth, Baal Meon, and Kiriathim, to the men of the east with the Ammonites. And I will give them in possession, so that the Ammonites may not be remembered among the nations. And I will execute judgments on Moab, and they shall know that I am Yahweh. So says the sovereign Yahweh, because Edom has dealt against the house of Judah by taking vengeance, and has greatly offended and revenged himself on them. Therefore, so says the sovereign Yahweh, I will also stretch out my hand on Edom, and will cut man and beast off from it. And I will make it a waste from Teman even to Dedan. They shall fall by the sword. And I will lay my vengeance on Edom by the hand of my people Israel. And I shall do in Edom according to my anger and according to my fury. And they shall know my vengeance, says sovereign Yahweh. So says the sovereign Yahweh, because the Philistines have taken vengeance. Yes, have taken vengeance with spite in their soul, to destroy with never-ending enmity. So the sovereign Yahweh says this, behold, I will stretch out my hand on the Philistines, and I will cut off the Cherethites, and will destroy the rest of the sea coast. And I will execute great vengeance on them with rebukes. And they shall know that I am Yahweh, when I shall lay my vengeance on them. If he was ending all rights to Jerusalem, why was he going after all of the people that harmed Jerusalem? That is proof to me that he's not through with them yet. This prophecy is against Tyre, at the time the strongest land on the planet. Ezekiel, the 26th chapter, the first verse. And it happened in the 11th year, in the first of the month, the word of Yahweh came to me, saying, Son of man, because Tyre has said against Jerusalem, aha, she is shattered. The doors of the people she has turned to me. I shall be filled. She is laid waste. So the sovereign Yahweh says this: behold, I am against you, O Tyre. And will cause many nations to come up against you, as the sea causes its waves to come up. And they shall destroy the walls of Tyre and break down her towers. And I will also scrape her dust from her and make her like a shining rock. It shall be a spreading place of nets in the middle of the sea. For I have spoken, says the sovereign Yahweh, and it shall become a spoil to the nations. And her daughters who are in the field shall be killed by the sword, and shall know that I am Yahweh. For so says the sovereign Yahweh, behold, I will bring Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, on Tyre, a king of kings from the north. Not that one. He thought he was, until he was eating grass in the back of his mansion like a cow. I was just, as I go through this, how many times he has little jabs at the people that he brought down that they thought were somebody. Tyre thought they were somebody. He brought them down with Nebuchadnezzar. And when Nebuchadnezzar rose up, he put him in the back of his own palace eating grass like a cow. Whoever that is, go on mute. Verse 7. For so says the sovereign Yahweh, behold, I will bring Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, on Tyre, a king of kings from the north, with horses and with chariots and with a company of horsemen and many people. And he shall kill your daughters with the sword in the field, and he shall make siege walls against you, and pour out a siege mound against you, and lift up the shield against you. And he shall set engines of war against your walls, and with his axes he shall break down your towers. Because of his many horses, their dust shall cover you. Your walls shall shake at the sound of the horsemen, and of the wheels, and of the chariots, and when he shall enter into your gates. As men enter a city that is breached. With the hooves of his horses, he shall trample all your streets. He shall kill your people by the sword, and the pillars of your strength shall go down to the ground. And they shall plunder your riches, and make a prey of your merchandise. And they shall break down your walls and destroy your desirable houses. And they shall lay your stones and your timber and your dust in the midst of the water. And I will cause the noise of your songs to cease, and the songs of your harps shall be heard no more. And I will make you like a shining rock. You shall be a place to spread nets on, and you shall be built no more. For I, Yahweh, have spoken, says the sovereign Yahweh. So says the sovereign Yahweh to Tyre. Shall not the coastland shake at the sound of your fall? When the slain groan, when the slaughter is made in your midst, and all the rulers of the sea shall come down from their thrones and lay away their robes and put off their embroidered garments. These were the finest dressed people in the world at this time, the people of Tyre. Listen to what they had. 16, all of the rulers of the sea shall come down from their thrones and lay away their robes and put off their embroidered garments. They shall clothe themselves with trembling. They shall sit on the ground and tremble at every moment and be amazed at you. And they shall take up a mourning for you and say to you, how you who lived by the sea are destroyed. The famous city which was strong in the sea, she and her people who caused their terror to be on all who lived in it. And the coastlands shall tremble in the day of your fall. Yea, the coastlands by the sea shall be troubled at your going. For so you say, the sovereign Yahweh, when I shall make you a ruined city, like the cities that have no inhabitants, when I shall bring up the deep on you, and great waters shall cover you. When I shall bring you down with those who go down into the pit. This is a dual prophecy of the end time and this time. In one time in history, everybody goes down into the pit. With the people of old time, and shall set you in the low parts of the earth, in places ruined in days of old, with those who go down to the pit, so that you have no inhabitants. But I gave glory in the land of the living. I will give you terrors, and you will not be. Dwell on that for a second. You will not be. Kind of like that other one. I will not. Though you are sought, yet you shall never be found. Forever, says the sovereign Yahweh. Ezekiel, the 27th chapter. The first verse. The word of Yahweh came to me, saying, and you, son of man, take up a mourning for Tyre, and say to Tyre, O you who are placed at the entrance of the sea, a merchant of the peoples from many coastlands. So says the sovereign Yahweh, O Tyre, you have said, I am of perfect beauty. Your borders are in the midst of the seas. Your builders have perfected your beauty. You have made all your shipboards of fir trees, of Senir. They have taken cedars from Lebanon to make masts for you, for your ships. They have made the oaks of Bashan your oars. The daughter of Assyria has made your deck of ivory. From the coasts of Kittim, your sail was of fine linen, with embroidered work from Egypt. An ensign for you, violet and purple from the coasts of Elisha, was your covering. Violet and purple are the colors of royalty. The residents of Sidon and Arvad were your seamen. Your wise ones, O Tyre, were in you. They were your sailors. The elders of Jabal and her wise men were with you, reinforcing your scenes. All the ships of the sea with their seamen were with you to exchange your merchandise. The commonality with all these was they were trading partners along this sea coast. Kind of like now. Everybody is scared to do anything because somebody else won't trade with you anymore. That's the whole thing right now with the United States, China, and Russia. And the politicians get in there and choose sides between themselves and muddy the waters. And it's all going to come out in the wash. And the washer is him. Verse 10, Persia and Lud and Lydia were in your army, your men of war. They hung the shield and helmet in you. They fought for you. They set your splendor. 11. The son of Arvad and your army were on your walls all around, and warriors were in your towers. They hung their shields on your walls and all around. They have made your beauty perfect. Tarshish, that's where the Apostle Paul was from. Tarshish was your merchant because of the multitude of your wealth with silver, iron, and lead. They gave for your wares. Javan, Tubal, and Meshach were your merchants. They traded the souls of men and vessels of bronze for your goods. Just like the end time. Trading the souls of men. Slaves, in other words. Verse 14. From the house of Togarmah, they gave horses and war horses and mules for your wares. The wares they had on mules because mules are lower to the ground and nothing would be broken that way. More money, more money, more money, more money. Verse 15. The sons of Dedan were your merchants. Many coastlands were the traffic of of your hand. They brought as your gift tusks of ivory and ebony. Those aren't even legal to be traded anymore now. They were so short of supply. They don't even make the best pianos now with ivory keys for this reason. But you can still get them. This is whose world? Verse 16. Syria was your merchant. Still is. Because of the multitude of your works, with emeralds, purple, and embroidered work, and fine linen, and coral, and rubies, they gave for your wares. Judah and the land of Israel were your merchants. With wheat from Minnith, and Panag, and honey, and oil, and balm, they gave for your goods. Even Judah and Israel traded with them, Tyre. And that's part of the reason that they're in the debacle they're in now. Back then and now, in the present time. Damascus was your merchant in the multitude of your works. From the multitude of all riches, in the wine of Helbon and white wool. Dan and Javan also going about gave for your wares smooth iron, cassia, and cane were among your goods. Dedan was your merchant in loose cloths for riding. Arabia and all the rulers of Kedar were traders of your hand in lambs and rams and goats. In them was your trade. The merchants of Sheba and Ramah were your merchants, with the chief of all the spices, and with every precious stone and gold they gave for your wares, or traded. Haran and Cana and Eden, the merchants of Sheba, Ashur, Kilmad, were your merchants. They were merchants in perfect things, in violet cloth, in embroidered work, and in carpets of many colors, with tightly bound cords. And cedars among your merchandise. The ships of Tarshish were the travelers of your goods. And you were filled and made very glorious in the hearts of the seas. Your rowers have made you come into great waters. The east wind has broken you in the heart of the seas. Your riches and your wares, your goods, your seamen, and your sailors, reinforcing your scenes, and the traders of your goods, and all of your men of war who are in you, and all your company which is in your midst, shall fall into the heart of the seas in the day of your ruin. At the sound of the cry of your sailors, the open lands will shake. And all who handle the oar, the mariners, all the sailors of the sea, shall come down from their ships. They shall stand on the land, and shall cause their voice to be heard against you, and shall cry bitterly, and throw dust on their heads. Sounds kind of like Revelation, huh? Where they will throw dust on their heads. And a lot of these things are repetitive because a lot of it, the final time then when this happens will be when Christ comes back. And shall cause their voice to be heard against you, and shall cry bitterly, and shall throw dust on their heads. They shall wallow themselves in the ashes, and they will be bald for you, and gird with, get this, sackcloth. And they shall weep for you with bitterness of soul, a bitter wailing. And in their wailing, they shall lift up a lamentation and lament over you, saying, who is like Tyre? As she who is quiet in the midst of the sea. You filled with many people, with the plenty of your riches and your goods. You enriched the kings of the earth. At this time, you are broken by the seas, in the depths of the water. Your goods and all your company in your midst have fallen. All the residents of the coastlands are appalled at you, and their kings are terrified, terribly terrified. Their faces tremble. You were the best in the land. You're not there anymore. 36. The merchants among the people hiss at you. You have become terrors, and you shall not be for a little while. No, that's not what that says. And you shall not be forever. That's the end of sorts, isn't it? And for this part, any questions? Any comments or clarifications on anything?
We're going to feel like this when we can't get goods out of Taiwan. We
Yep.
can't get drugs out of China. But some of us get our medications from China, and we're going to go without medications. You better find substitutes real soon.
I'm praying to be off of it by then. That's my major prayer. And the way certain companies are watering down the stuff when they centralize it, a lot of it isn't very good by the time you get it anyway, because that's by design. Not many will tell you that, but it is by design. Thurman?
Pastor, when we were reading in Ezekiel 24 and like in verse 6, we were talking about, Judah's scum that was in the pot and hadn't gone out from it. I thought of Luke 11 and verse 39, when Messiah Yeshua said that, let's see, saying to the Pharisees and the lawyers, then the master said to them, now you Pharisees make the outside of the cup and dish clean, but your inward part is full of greed and wickedness.
Same thing, scum.
Yeah, so that just made me think of that, verse.
Any others? Ruby.
Piggyback on what Brother Dwayne made mention about the medications that are off seas and what we're supposed to be watching for. Even the stuff we have already are really damaging, extremely damaging. The high blood pressure, levothyroxine, lisinopril, has said that they damage the liver quite a bit. And people don't realize how bad it is because they get so used to it. My body's used to it for 19 years. And when I get off it, I get really, really sick. And I try to start doing supplements. But even with that, it just does a lot. And it's scary because you don't know what we're going to be dealing with.
And the thing with the supplements, after so much time, the body, its effect on the body is nil. And you have to have several other kinds of supplements at the ready to get in there, and whatever you use to monitor how much of the stuff is in your system, you have to stay on that. Your high blood pressure monitors and all of that, and you start to notice things going up, that stuff is going down in the quality of it. And what happens is you got to have 2 or 3 kinds, and every time you switch out, the body goes back to normal. And even that, in my mind, is something that they put on to those things, that the body doesn't care where this stuff came from normally, unless they put something in there that only lasts for so long before something happens. I don't know that that's happening, but I don't know. I can't say here. But it's not right. It never happens with the meds, the medical meds, the snake meds, I call them. That stuff, never, they can put you on that for life, and many times they will tell you that in the hospitals and the doctor's offices. You're going to be on this for the rest of your life. Why is that? Thurman.
Pastor, when we were in Ezekiel 26 and the different nations, the enemy nations of Israel that Yahweh made proclamations against that he would punish them, there's a principle in the Proverbs chapter 24, verses 17 to 18 that kind of, it shows the principle of disdaining your enemy and laughing when they stumble. Mm-hmm. And so Proverbs chapter 24, verse 17 and 18. Do not rejoice when your enemy falls, and do not let your heart be glad when he stumbles, lest Yahweh see it and it displease him, and he turn away his wrath from him.
Yep.
So we're not to rejoice, when we have enemies, that stumble and fall, like, Ammon and Moab and all that. They were just, Judah got it, now they done went down the drain and stuff. We're not to do that, because Yahweh can turn it back on our heads.
Yeah, the world is round. The world is round. Despite Alan Horvath and all those other people, it is round. Mm-hmm. Yep. He made a whole ministry off of that and made millions and still making them. Yeah, but yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but the seed of it is the whole idea that the earth is flat. That's why I ran out of there. I remember years ago, it was Jerry Bernardo. He had a picture in his wall of a globe. The globe was square, and the ships were going off the side and falling into forever. Yeah, exactly. And it was funny every time I went out there. I said, I think Yep. Good stuff. If you take it the right way. And anybody that has ever taken a picture with any kind of camera of the planets, what shape are they in generally? The reflected light ones, they got smaller and go to quarters and crescents and that. But anything that you see reflected light from, that reflected light is round.
All our planets are round.
Why would the Earth alone be a cube or something?
They like to use scripture saying because it says, oh, the four corners of the earth or the corner. So that's what they're hanging everything on.
Yeah, but that's not enough to hang it on. To hang you on, maybe.
I know it's in Proverbs. I think it's Proverbs chapter 8 that said that Yahweh drew a circle on the face of the deep when he was making the earth. So there you have the circle right there. He drew a circle on the face of the deep, you know.
Ruby.
It took a while for me to understand when it says the four corners of the world until I got rebaptized, and I realized that it just meant north, south, east, and west.
Yes.
And I never knew it
Yes.
because I used to say, well, if it says the four corners, the corners are peaks. So I'm thinking that's what it is, but it's not that. But it's just how the mind plays games with you, and it's what the Father says, well,
Most maps
you're not
have
going to get it yet.
4 quarters. The east, the west, the north, and the south.
Right.
And that's what he's talking about. And that's what they were talking about, but Horvath and his group went a whole nother way with it. And see, the Bible says the world is round. Any more? Thurman.
Pastor, when we're reading in Ezekiel 24, verse 13, Yahweh was saying that to the Israelites that the temple was like the apple of their eye and everything. And I was thinking that's because their temple was a big money maker for them, giving power to the leaders and stuff. Plus, it was a place that they were in there doing their pagan witchcraft and stuff too. That's why that was so important to them, because it was drawing other people in from other nations and stuff. And they're making a lot of money with that.
Yeah, because even the other nations, they were considered another nation like them. They weren't special to God or anybody else. They were making the money just like we are. They traded with them and everything else. And it's just another trading post, basically. And they thought of themselves as that because they got so wrapped up in the world that they became like the world. And they're going to have one last chance to get out of that. But if they don't do it that time, and anybody else in their time. But a lot of people I'm going to get into that after this. It's not in Ezekiel in any large way, but
in the temple, it was a whole lot going on. Not
Yeah.
trading and selling, but whatever you want to do, you would go to the temple, and they had them in there. They had the prostitutes in there. They had this in there. In the temple, where they supposed to be serving the idols and stuff.
no, they weren't supposed to be, but they were.
But they were. But it was all going on in the temple.
Rashida.
It's funny how that still goes on today. I remember we took a trip to England and France in high school, and I really wanted to see the Notre Dame. And so we went, and I'll never forget, I'm taking pictures, right? And we were about to go inside. There was this huge, long queue to go inside. But while we were waiting, we were all just taking pictures. And all you saw was a row of ladies of the night smoking cigarettes right outside the church and getting business. Like very easily getting business right outside of the one of the most beautiful cathedrals in the world. So I'm like, wow, this history repeating itself. I mean, right outside, unabashedly, just smoke. Oh, hey, you ready? Okay, right outside the church.
It never stopped.
Right outside the church. I'll never forget that. I'll never forget that.
And here, it was a church in my neighborhood. And you know, the pastor comes out, he had his beer in one hand, cigarette in the other. Yes, nice sermon, pastor. Thanks. Something else. And he's just shaking hands with the parishioners. Oh, thank you very much. It's smoking a cigarette. He just come out the pulpit.
Yep. And that negates that whole thing about pollutants in the body of Christ. And the thing is, he had it on good ground, depending on what period he sold it in. Anybody more than 50 years old remembers back in the 50s and 40s and such, they had smoking cigarettes as a calmative. It had no negative aspects. It didn't cause any diseases, anything like that. And after the diseases came forth, at some point they had these things called asthmatic cigarettes, and they had stuff in there that they said that they cured asthma. How can smoke cure asthma? How? Dwayne, David.
There's in a lot of movies they have like idols and all these worshiping false gods in a lot of these kids movies that we watch, and I'm just surprised to see all that.
Yep. Yep.
And it starts with our children.
And a lot of the cartoons too.
It starts with their children.
They get away with stuff with cartoons that they couldn't get away with in live stuff, like the fat guy and his wife and the kids, the dog, the talking dog, and all of them. Yeah, same thing on a lower level, but the same thing. That started with Married with Children, I think. And it got worse. That Family Guy is the worst, though, in my opinion. But yeah. Yep. He was.
We even got the adults hooked on these cartoons because of what they do, and a lot of it's so real. It's realistic, fit in the cartoon setup.
You can't ban everything. It just sets up underground markets for the stuff to get bigger. And there's no one there to refute any of it. That's why Horvath got as big as he was. There was nobody refuting it because they didn't know it was there. And now that a little light shines on him, it breaks it up. Any more? Then I'm done till part 8 next week.